Armageddon, we were dealing with the devil himself, you know. And in fact, it's really Archangel, Avatar, and Armageddon, or a trilogy. I mean, they're almost like a movie if you put them all together.
But how do we beat something with the power of life and death?
Because we have to, Joe.
When we finally got to doing Armageddon, once again, David A. phoned and said, "Listen, we've got this. We want to do this sort of temptation of Christ scene. Are you up for it?" And thinking I might say, "Well, no, it's just getting too down and dirty inside myself." But I thought, no, let's go for it.
Hey, can I help you?
I believe the question, Joseph, is, can I help you?
So they wrote what I think is a great scene, but what really makes it work was Peter Hudson, who played my brother-in-law, James Horton, a terrific individual, a terrific actor, and became a good friend. And we had one afternoon, we just sat down over a pint of beer and talked about the scene, and we made a couple of little adjustments to it, but just to give it the emotional depth that I hope we were able to put into it.
You've done very well, Joseph.
I started out in the theater. I didn't start out in television, and I love theatricality, and I love theatrically trained actors, and I love working with actors who know what to do on stage and who have that technique. And Peter's got it in spades, and so just to have him to work with, to provide that, just that evil, but the quiet, modulated tones, the little smile on the face, the dismissive glances, and it's so beautifully encapsulated there.
You used to fly, Joseph, do you remember? They used to call you the Flyer.
Richard Martin was directing, and we had a closed set, and luckily, everyone on the cast and crew had really been working together a lot, and we all trusted one another and knew one another well enough to really, because you're exposing yourself emotionally in a way that you really, it usually is something you only do with yourself, and to do it with a whole bunch of people around can be a little bit intimidating.
Do you remember what it was like to wrap your legs around a beautiful woman?
No.
If you're going to do it, you can't do it halfway. You have to really go for it and find that thing. And that's why the conversation that we'd had with Peter, and, just imagine that the impossible happened, and that this unbelievable dream, and what would you, in fact, give?
So I've come to offer you a small gift.
Yeah, we'll keep the gift.
No, I think you'll want this.
And it's a tough decision. I don't know that I would have made the same decision that Joe Dawson did, because, boy, it would be sweet to be able to put your toes in the sand at the beach. And so you imagine it and make it real, and taken away from you because you got something more important to believe in.
I won't. You son of a bitch!
When we finished, it was like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I was okay. I mean, I cried real tears, but I was okay. I was fine, because I'd live with it every day of my life, and to imagine for that moment that you'd have back what you lost, but the truth will out, and the truth is, it's not to be. So it was very good for me, just emotionally on a certain level, and I think it's good for people to see that. I think it's good to not hide it and not hide those emotions, and let people feel them, and by feeling them, you're washed clean in a way.
Your brother is in town, tormented for eternity.
There is no forgiveness. There's only pain. Fire. And we will
In the episode Armageddon, there was one cue particularly that sticks out in my mind, and it was a vocalese that I wrote. And very passionate, if I do say so myself, beautiful melodic line, sung by a singer by the name of Tanya Hatcheroff. She did a beautiful job on it.
You'll be mine.
Why do I have to damn my brother to love you?
Are you afraid to look into the face of evil?
The vocalese theme was used first of all in the confessional scene in the church, and then we reprised it in the scene where Ahriman comes and visits Joe and offers Joe his legs back. And very dramatic scene, and Jim Burns did a fantastic job, obviously, on that, on that scene. It's very gripping, and I had to be very careful of how I was going to treat that scene musically. This vocalese played against the scene very, very nicely. And it's one of those instances where music playing against the action, I mean in counter to the action, as opposed to working with the action, worked very well. I mean, you might look at that scene and think, well, it should have dramatic, demonic music because he's being tempted by the devil. It's a classic Faustian scene. Yet, with this beautiful aria playing, and it was almost gave the demon Ahriman this godlike, omnipotent quality, and to the preposterous offer that he was making Joe to portray Mac. So, again, another scene that I really enjoyed scoring and will stay with me for the rest of my life.
Well, this one was interesting for me because, what I looked at it as was the clarity of light and dark, and the sense that you have to be very clear when you have light. There should be no shadow and nothing standing in your way. Whereas in this part here, you have a lot of things that are obscuring your view. So your mind and your soul had to be very clean and cleansed. It was a question of not having an opinion on stuff, and trying to make MacLeod to clear away all his opinions from the past, to clear away his aggressiveness, to clear away emotions that he had. The idea was that in another dimension, the fight happened on a spiritual level, and when I was fighting Ahriman, that was on a spiritual level within my mind, and so that the mind had to be clear.
Maybe we can find something a little more impressive, MacLeod.
Through martial arts, I decided to actually create or work on the Qigong aspect of martial arts and create a form that would be able to be used as a shadow boxing. It worked really interestingly because we actually choreographed moves that were fighting techniques, but that we did them in such a way that he would miss and then I would hit him, and then he would, it would be a constant movement that was a non-combative movement that took away his energy and dissipated the aggression that he had, and be very non-emotive and seeing what he wanted to see at that point that he needed to be at, so that he could be clear enough and spiritual enough to fight this demon that was inside him.